the birthday celebration at the White House. It was not a 3-alarm fire, or at least one didn't break out. It looks like one is about to start based on the the photo. This is the official photo they put out. So they did it as a joke. It's a joke, right? I mean, it's pointing out that he's that old. It's interesting that they are leaning into it when so many people are saying that's his Achilles heel.
You say leaning into it, yet hours before he tried referencing Taylor Swift concert and messed it up and said Britney Spears. So whether they're leaning in or not, it feels like they're whipsawing.
Yeah, well, maybe their Hail Mary is going to be social media because President Biden, although he has said in the past that he would not, is opening a TikTok account and a Threads account. So is Vice President Harris, also now has a Threads account. So maybe they feel like social media is the thing that's going to help them get the confidence.
It feels like they're laughing at him as they're reporting this.
It's slipping. So is it going to be enough? Well, let's bring in our good friend who is a tech reporter for the Washington Post, Taylor Lorenz. Welcome back to TMZ Live. Hey, Taylor.
Thank you for having me.
Taylor, I look... You know, if he is trying to lean in to young people, you just got to see the handwriting on the wall that young people, and you tell me if I'm wrong because I ain't a young person, but I follow what's going on, and it just seems to me that the age factor and just the visuals of Joe Biden almost make it a deal breaker, it seems, for an increasingly large number.
So they are starting to talk about what cable news refers to as his age only. Like it's just a number, it's one-dimensional. This corporate entity, which is not afraid of talking about Joe Biden, it's let me get the correct phrasing that he says here. I always like to do that. Let's get it his correct
breaker, it seems, for an increasingly large number of young people. So how does jumping on TikTok?
I think he says I didn't rewind it further enough. He says something like you can visually see him cognitively declining, like a visual difference. Basically, you can see it, and so this is one of the first times a corporate entity I've heard, maybe it's because they delve in entertainment, they're allowed to do this, but talk about Joe Biden's age, not in this one-dimensional sense of just a number, but the visual, visually seeing a difference. So just wanted to point out to that.
Jumping on Threads or anything like that, how can he win that back?
I don't see him winning it back with a Threads account or TikTok. He can post all day long. The fact is that his policies are enormously unpopular with young people. He has, failed to eliminate student debt. He has allowed, basically, pushed a lot of legislation that young people are really against. So he can TikTok all day. It doesn't matter. Young people will support an older candidate. I mean, a huge amount of young people, for instance, supported Bernie, who's very old himself.
Sure.
Because they felt, his policies aligned. Biden can't just ignore everything that Gen Z is asking for and then, do a little dance on TikTok and think that that's going to win him the election.
It actually is kind of insulting in a way, right? That they almost feel like if they do something, if they do something humorous, the administration, like the birthday cake photo, if they do something humorous, okay, we'll just make young people laugh, and that's all that they care about. If they laugh, then they'll support me.
And to his point, I'm amazed that they're saying this. Maybe I'm overly describing it, because I don't watch TMZ. Maybe they talk about politics like this all the time. But to hear a corporate outlet say it's almost insulting that they think they can just pretty much tap dance and then you'll be okay. But they're saying it out loud. Especially over this Palestine issue. They keep saying, oh, that's 11 months out. What does that mean? What does 11 months have to do with people not liking you committing genocide? And that's why your polling numbers are coming down. Because they're saying, oh, you'll forget about this. I would be highly offended as a Democratic voter if they did that to me. Like, wait, so you think something that I'm mad at right now, you're just saying, I'll see you in a month. and you won't be so mad about this. Like, but that's what it feels like they're doing. Let's continue. It continues here with them destroying him.
That's seems to be the tone of what they're doing, right?
Yeah, it's just this gross dismissiveness of Gen Z voters and not taking their interests seriously. Young people care about things like climate change. You know, they have a very different perspective on the war that's happening right now. You know, they're very anti-war. There's all these issues: student debt, healthcare, housing, the rising cost of living. And what are they doing? They're posting these silly memes. Of course, that's not going to resonate. It's actually just going to alienate young voters who feel like they're being trivialized.
So explain then why Donald Trump is getting, it seems like getting more and more younger voters behind him, because when you talk about climate change and you compare Biden and Trump, there's really no comparison. And, you know, there are issues, as you say, that resonate with young people that Donald Trump is not behind, yet he's growing in popularity with them.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, look, Trump's policies overwhelmingly do not align with young people. However, Trump is seen as very authentic. He speaks his mind. You know, there's all of these things that I do think people like. And also there's just a hatred of Joe Biden because they feel so kind of
can't believe they're saying this stuff on here.
I talk to a lot of young voters and they say, you know, look, at least with Trump, we know what we're getting. Biden, on the other hand, promised all of these progressive changes and then flip-flopped and enacted a lot of the same policies as Trump, especially in regards to the border wall, things like this. So, you know, I think it's
not looking good for him.
Turning to the right.
Taylor, when I was young and the Vietnam War was raging, young people were passionate for certain candidates. I was a huge supporter and actually worked on the campaign, even when I was young, of Robert Kennedy. Yet I haven't seen any groundswell among young people the way I did back then, or the way we even saw with Bernie Sanders. I've seen no groundswell for any particular person. Why is that?
Well, I think we're in a position right now where there is no mainstream progressive left candidate. I mean, if you look at the political landscape, it's dominated by boomers. It's dominated by older people or maybe slightly younger people that really just, you know, promote the boomer ideology. And so I think
Hakeem Jeffries
people are so hungry for that candidate that resonates with them, but nobody's speaking to young people. People are dismissing them. I mean, look at what happens when some of these young climate activists get up and challenge the administration. They're dismissed, they're maligned. So I think it's hard. I think young people really want someone to rally around, and the Democratic Party needs to make room for that next generation. They can't just have the same old establishment people that have been in power for so long clinging to power and expect that, you know, Gen Z is going to come out and vote for them.
Oh, wow.
Like I said, I'm amazed that this segment is on here. Now, granted, it's not coming from the lips of the two regular hosts. It's coming from a reporter's lips. But again, like somebody said in the comments, they usually TMZ usually totes the normal establishment line, and this is sort of surprising to hear this. But I think it's because all of this critique of Joe Biden has already been green lit. It was green lit back in the day when David Ignatius wrote the article in the Washington Post saying Joe don't run. That was several months ago when we cover that. So you've seen a lot of this, and it's as the polls come out and show he's losing in battleground states. That was the whole thing. Joe Biden is the only one who could beat him. Remember they kept saying that? Joe Biden is the only one who could beat him. That's why we're not having a primary. Joe Biden this, Joe Biden that. And now that these polls are consistently showing him losing to Trump in battleground states, losing to multiple Democrats in battleground states, not just national. When they would beat national polls, oh, he's winning us national poll. We don't have national elections. That was the response. They don't have that anymore. Now they're just saying we don't believe these polls, or they'll say, oh, it's 11 months from now. So love this segment. I think this is the end. Yeah, it's ending here. Let's let it end the last 30 seconds, and we can move on to the next story.
Wow, that is powerful. And I got to say, you make a lot of sense.
It's a big problem that they need to address. The problem is, do they have enough time at this point,
right,
to flip it around? And it seems like, you know, they're running out.
Wow.
Yeah, they don't have much time, so they better get it together soon, and I don't think signing up for TikTok is going to solve these tough problems.
Does not seem
Or
to be
burning
the
down,
case.
burning down the house
Burning down the White House
with a birthday cake.
Happy Thanksgiving,
Happy
Taylor.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so very interesting segment, I thought, on TMZ, and oddly enough, it was pretty, I wouldn't go as far as to say based. Didn't reach based level, but it's right below that. And if you're grading on a curve compared to other corporate media, I guess you can say that it was pretty based.